I'm not sure who called, but we...
SWAT team again, eh? The SWAT team was called again? Are you kidding me? You can come on in. This should be for public consumption. Come on in.
I don't want to disrupt things. We could talk.
You don't want to disrupt things. To be fair, you guys are only trying to do your job.
That's right.
But this is ridiculous.
And you obviously have
We've
a
got
cause
badge
as well.
916. Yeah, it's taxpayer 916.
3439. You don't have to record it.
3439.
I'm happy to tell you.
I think this should be done in a public forum since your resources are what we pay for. And this is getting a little ridiculous with you guys being tied up for taxpayer related issues because this city council and this mayor, the head of the corporation of the city, refuses to deal with the taxpayers in an expedient manner. How do you feel about getting called out to the library last week? None of you guys I recognize with the tactical squad and 5 cruisers. So there's roughly 13 of your fellow officers tied up last week.
I can't even comment because I wasn't working that day and I don't know anything about it.
The library, the board with 4 members of the public there and a sitting councillor.
I wasn't there. But
Fair enough.
The reason we were called here today, we were told that you were using a megaphone there was a lady that was trying to tell her story.
Yeah, and I apologize while I was out there with it.
Right, so nobody could hear anything she was saying. So that's why we were called.
All right, so what's going to happen here tonight then?
Well,
As this administration, led by the mayor, John Henry, and a councillor like Roger Bauma continues to be heavy-handed, wasting police resources out of our regional tax dollars.
I don't think it's a waste. You know, if they feel that there's a disruption and they call us, that's our job.
I would like to point out to everybody watching this, see, here's the reason why I do what I do. I'm a community activist, and community is the key word. At the end of the hall, we got a tactical unit. Are you from the tactical unit?
He's not a tactical officer. He's a canine officer.
So you brought a dog for me?
No, he doesn't have his dog with him tonight. He's by himself.
I like dogs. So he's ducked around the corner. So who made the call?
I couldn't tell you.
Because we'll find out.
That's fine. We were
Are you aware of who made the call?
No, I'm not.
Are you?
No, I'm not, sir.
No, what's-
You can make
Fontaine
3157.
3157.
You can make a request for freedom of information.
Yeah, but here's the thing. This mayor, John Henry, and Roger Bauma, who sits on this side of the council chambers, said that FOIs were going to be done away with. And no resident, they're up on the website still, no resident would ever have to make another FOI request when these guys got into office. Are you aware of that?
No, I'm not.
Are you aware of that?
No,
Are you aware of that?
Does it matter if we
It does, because why should I have to pull an FOI request for calling out the mayor who's continued to go against all of his campaign promises?
Okay, but I have no
Same with
control
Roger.
over FOIs. I have no control over that. I was called here today. I'm responding to a disturbance. Okay? So if you...
Am I going to be thrown out of a council meeting?
You know what? If you continue to cause disturbances in there, there is the potential that they could give you a trespass letter.
Can I make a point? Thank you for, I appreciate, you've been very nice with me. Can I make a point? I never caused a disturbance in the council chambers. I went outside to make a point to a mayor and a council who refuses to be accountable to the taxpayers of this city that I was born and raised in. Are you aware that I ran for council?
No.
Are you aware that I have 21 and a half years of clients here and an elderly father who's 90 years old as we sit here on May 22nd, 2012? I'm not the one causing the disturbance here. It's the mayor, John Henry, and Roger Bauma, and a heavy-handed council and administration.
Sir, I understand your cause. That's your cause. I understand that you're obviously very serious about it. But with the
Am I being democratic about it?
with the megaphone, I think you interrupted somebody else trying to tell their plight. And that's not fair. So I'm just going to ask
hear
you
that.
if in the future you could not use the megaphone and allow other people to have a voice too. That's
Okay,
it.
you've been very nice. You're super nice. So here's what really happened. I waited for O Canada to finish. I waited for the Lord's Prayer, or whatever the heck they're trying to do right now, to remove the Lord's Prayer from this chamber. I waited for that to be done. I waited for all of the delegation requests on a very important matter in the community, which is the saving of the Winfield Stone House, which I also support. Are you aware that I support that as well? Did you see me in the paper supporting it? Okay, I just want to see, because not everybody that is a police officer owns property here or follows local politics. So I've been involved in this community for 2 years. Do you know what I'm doing? I'm walking out my 2010 campaign promises that I put on paper and then I put on YouTube. How do you feel about that? Just because I'm not getting a paycheck, should I refuse to walk these things out? Should I be lazy and just collect a paycheck off the backs of my taxpayers and not care? Should I just let them get away with what they're doing in my city? Are you aware that there's a potential $3 million surplus across the road in the Bagot Street Library branch. You want to hear about corruption? Maybe you guys should be investigating that. That's a
We're not
crime.
here to discuss politics, though.
Yeah, but I am.
We're here in response, I understand that. We're here in response to the disturbance call, okay?
Okay, let me ask you. If you were a taxpayer, and you are, I imagine, if you were a taxpayer and you weren't getting calls and emails returned, and they had campaigned on a matter of transparency and accountability for their entire campaign season, and they're doing anything but, isn't that criminal?
Well, Barry, we can only act within the...
Is that subjective? Was that a hard question? Now you know what it's like being a taxpayer trying to deal with these clowns. There's 2 or 3 good counselors here, but you know what? The mayor is not a
Barry,
good person.
Like you said, right? You're using a police resource right now, and we don't mind responding if there is a problem. I don't think there's an issue here.
I didn't call you, and you refuse to tell me who called you because you may not know, but I'll find out.
Don't say I'm refusing to tell you, because I'm not refusing. I don't know the answer to that question, okay?
Can you find out?
No, because our computer systems are completely down across the region. So we were dispatched over the radio, okay? So...
Would you like my email address so you can find out who called you and
No, but-
abuse this police resource tonight?
But you can
Would you like
follow-
my card?
You can follow our proper procedure, and you can get that information if you so desire to. We were here to respond to a disturbance. There's no disturbance now, so we are going to leave. And I would ask that in the future that you don't use the megaphone, because we will be called back.
Here's what I'm going to promise. If the mayor and council starts walking out their campaign promises and being accountable and transparent to the taxpayer, I won't need to use my bullhorn. How's that? I negotiate for a living. Is that fair?
Really, Barry? Like, I'm trying to be...
You are being
reasonable
super
with
nice,
you.
but you know what? I'm past fed up with a bunch of other council watchers. I'm not trying to shoot the messenger. Not trying to shoot the messenger. Not trying to shoot the messenger. I'm here as a community activist because we're tired and
You
fed
told
up.
us that, and I see that you're very passionate about your cause, but all I'm asking is...
Did I run from you guys? Did I refuse to come out?
Well, obviously you can answer that. Why are
No,
you
I'm here
asking
with a
me?
camera standing in the hallway of Oshawa City Hall because I was called out by the mayor. And when challenged about who called, are you aware that John Henry, the mayor, sits on the police services board and got a majority of those votes?
Again, like I said, we're not here to discuss politics.
My
We're
political
here-
views just don't come into play here. I told you why we've responded, and we've responded. We've done what we can. I will ask you that you don't use the megaphone. We probably will be called back if you do.
I have told you that I appreciate you all being nice and listening to me. You've done a good job of listening. Maybe you should run for council. Because if everybody listened as well as you 3 tonight and the dog unit fella down the road, we would all be better off as taxpayers. So you've been more than respectful with me. I'll tell you again, this is a very heavy-handed Oshawa City Council and administration. I'm telling you, on behalf of several taxpayers that I represent, your police resources and your time have been wasted here again, like they were last week at the library board when the tactical unit with around 13 of your officers were called. It is a waste of police resources.
Said, Barry, I'm not going to comment on it because I wasn't here and I don't know anything about it, okay? So
Yep, fair
please
enough.
don't ask me for my take on that. I don't even know that what you're saying is true. I have no idea who responded or how many. But
We were there, and you can ask Councillor Doug Sanders because he's in there right now.
Okay.
He was there.
So I do know why we're here tonight, and I've said our piece. And I'm just going to ask you that you not use the megaphone. Just,
Seeing as how I didn't enter into that verbal contract with you, what is going to be the problem if I use the megaphone in the future with a council that doesn't listen to me, doesn't listen to my ratepayers, doesn't listen to my 21 and a half years of real estate clients here in town, doesn't listen to us as a bunch of Canadians, let alone people that were in Oshawa? What's going to happen if I use it again? Based on what I've told you tonight. You can research it if you have the time. I don't think you do because your resources are strapped. But once again, I'm saying they're strapped because of a heavy-handed administration that calls you guys out time and again. This is the 3rd or possibly 4th time, I'll give you a card before I go.
Dutton?
D-U-T-T-O-N.
Thanks.
This is the 4th time, unless I'm mistaken, that this mayor or this administration has called in
Thank you.
police, wasted your time and resources while you could be catching criminals. Do you think this was a wise resource use of City Hall tonight?
The thing is, when people call us, we have to respond. We don't know what's going to happen until we show up, right?
Does it sound like I'm a fed up taxpayer?
I'm not going to answer that.
How
here,
about
like I
perhaps?
said,
Perhaps I might be a fed up taxpayer.
You've told us that you are, right?
Perhaps there's a lot more others of us like me out there.
I'm sure there is. So, look, I've told you why we came here tonight, and I've asked you not to, and I would hope that you would be respectful of the other people that are trying to have a voice here tonight, and that's all.
Yeah. No, and you
Okay.
made the point, and I wanted to clarify, like I tried to earlier. Maybe we didn't hear each other. I apologized in the megaphone when I was out there, saying I don't want to interrupt anybody else's time. I made every attempt. I've got text messages to the former mayor that are saved in my outbox right now on my Rogers Network BlackBerry, and you can check them if you want or go through the
don't need
logs.
to.
I said that I was trying to respect every delegation because I'm here to represent taxpayers, not get in their way.
Right.
I waited as long as I could. I waited till the Winfield Farm sensitive issue was off the table. I had to make an exit, and it took me 3 minutes to get out there, do my thing, and say my first 5 or 8 minutes of a speech. No harm intended to you guys, no harm intended to the K-9 unit fella down there.
So, but if you've already apologized for it, then you probably don't intend to do that.
It's on tape, and you can get a hold of my YouTube information
I'm just
later
saying,
and watch it.
You obviously realize that there is a wrong in perhaps using the megaphone in this forum.
I will certainly never admit to that.
Well,
I think it's
you
wrong
apologized, so you
Yeah.
must have felt bad about it.
for getting in the way of a taxpayer speech.
That's what I'm saying is.
We're on the same level with that.
Megaphone has its place, but during when people are trying to get their voice across, then that's not. the
Well,
right time
sometimes we
use
need
it.
to learn how to meet in the middle. This is a heavy-handed City Hall administration in the city of Oshawa. Your resources have been wasted tonight, beyond the shadow of a doubt.
Okay, well, we are going to exit.
So I am safe to return to council as a duly paying, tax-paying citizen?
I don't think you were ever not safe.
Cool. You've been super nice. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
You have a good night.
You're the quiet one, eh? Strong, silent type?
Right.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate your time.
Doesn't really affect any plans with the property in the future. It mostly is addressing concerns or potential concerns from the DFO. And again, that's the important part of this, is to get that last sign off from the DFO on the ammonia.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Mayor McGettrick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, I appreciate the work that you do, and Tom, in your office especially. Wanted to ask, the indication that we get through not only this report but the previous was we're waiting on some of the chips to fall and also some understanding with respect to the environmental. In particular, you talked about the DFO and releasing, for example, their liability or whatever with respect to the ammonia. What happens if that doesn't happen? It then gets left in the city's hands to decide whether we want to move forward or not?
If that doesn't happen, it comes back to the city having to make a decision on that.
Okay, so, and that was the understanding last time. So it's plausible that we be in the same position next year at this time again and have to make a decision. Is that something that could be a factor through you, Mr. Mayor, to staff?
It's possible. It's not likely in my point of view. When I look at the correspondence that Franz has produced in the report referenced here, Franz has spoken to the DFO. They are in talks with DFO, and they have gone over a plan